Hello and a very warm welcome to each one of you. And today we are going to dive into understanding कि हमारी identity form कैसे होती है. As much as we have read and we have understood, um, we now know that our identity is constructed layer by layer. And वो layers किससे बनती है? हमारे experiences से, हमारे environment से, हमारे references से, हमारे beliefs से, हमारी emotional associations से. Right. Let us very quickly dive into the book and understand what does Tony Robbins has to share on this. Let me start sharing the screen and there we go. All right. How your identity is formed. Why is it that during the Korean War, more American POWs informed on their fellow prisoners than in any other war in modern history? The answer is that the Chinese communists, unlike their allies, the North Koreans, understood the power of identity to instantaneously change not only their long held beliefs and values, but their actions in an instant. Rather than brutalize the prisoners, they doggedly pursued their own igneous form of psychological warfare, designed not merely to extract information or create compliance, but rather to convert the American fighting man to their political philosophy. They knew that if they could lead him into a new set of beliefs and values, then he would see his country's role in the war as futile and destructive, and therefore assist them in any way they requested. And they succeeded. Understanding what they did can help you understand how you have arrived at your current identity and how you can expand your identity and therefore your entire life in matter of moments. The task before the Chinese communists was formidable indeed. How can you change someone's entire identity without the threat of death or the promise of freedom? Especially knowing that the American soldier has been trained to give only his name, rank, and serial number. Their plan was very simple: start small and build. The Chinese understood that the way we identify anyone is by their actions. For example, how do you know who your friend really is? Isn't it by the way he or she acts, the way he or she treats people? The communists' real secret, though, was that they understood that we determine who we are, our own identities, by judging our own actions as well. In other words, we look at what we do to determine who we are. The Chinese realized that in order to achieve their broader objective of changing the prisoners' beliefs about their identity, all they had to do was get the prisoner to do things that a collaborator or a communist would do. Again, this is not simple task, but they realize it could be done if they simply could wear the American POW down through conversation that lasted 12 to 20 hours, and then make a minor request. Get him to say something like, the United States is not perfect. Or, it's true in a communist country that employment is not a problem. Having established this footing, the Chinese would simply start small and build. They understood our need for consistency. Once we make a statement that we say we believe, we have to be willing to back it up. They would merely ask the POW to write down some of the ways in which America is not perfect. In his exhausted state, the GI was then asked, what other social benefits are there to communism? Within a short period of time, the GI would have sitting in front of him a document not only attacking his own nation but also promoting communism with all the reasons written in his own handwriting. He now had to justify to himself why he would do he had done this. He would not been beaten, nor had he been offered special rewards. He had simply made small statements in his need to stay consistent with the ones he had already written. And now he would even sign the document. He had already even signed the document. How could he explain his willingness to do this? Later, he would be asked to read his list of discussion groups in a discussion group with other prisoners or even to write an entire essay about it. When the Chinese broadcast these essays along with the name of the prisoner who had written them, suddenly the prisoner would find himself publicly identified as an enemy, collaborator. When the fellow prisoner asked him why he did it, he could not defend himself by saying he had been tortured. He had to justify his acts to himself in order to maintain his own sense of integrity. In an instant, he would state that he wrote it because it was true. In that moment, his identity shifted. He now perceived himself as pro communist, and all those around him also labeled him as such. They would reinforce his new identity by treating him the same way they treated the communist guards. Soon, his new identity would cause him to openly denounce his country, and in order to maintain consistency between his statements and his new label, he would often collaborate even more extensively with his captors. This has one of the most brilliant facets in the Chinese strategy. Once a prisoner had written something down, he could not later pretend to himself that it had never happened. There it was in black and white, in his own handwriting, for anyone to see, something which drove him to make his belief and his self image consistent with what he had undeniably done. Before we judge our POW harshly, however, we should take a good look at ourselves. Did you consciously choose your identity? Or it is the result of what other people have told you, significant events in your life, and other factors that occurred without your awareness or approval? What consistent behavior have you adopted that now help to form the basis of your identity? Would you be willing to undergo a painful bone marrow extraction to help a stranger? Most people's first response would be absolutely not. Yet, in a study done in 1970, researchers found that if a person was led to believe that the consistency of their identity relied upon it, many would commit to do just such a selfless act. The study showed that when the subjects were asked to make small commitments first and followed up with two simple acts which made not volunteering seem out of character, many began to develop a new identity. They began to see themselves as donors, as a person who unconditionally commit to help those in need through personal sacrifice. Once this occurred, when the request for the bone marrow was made, these people felt compelled by the force of their new identity to follow through regardless of the time, money, and physical pain involved. Their view of themselves as donors became a reflection of who they were. There is no more potent leverage in shaping the human behavior than identity. You might ask, isn't my identity limited by my experiences? No, it's limited by your interpretation of your experiences. Your identity is nothing but the decision you have made about who you are, what you have decided to fuse yourself with. You become the labels you have given yourself. The way you define your identity defines your life. Wow, this is so powerful. And the technique, the strategy that Chinese had used um, is absolutely fascinating कि कोई हमने ना टॉर्चर किया ना हमने कुछ अपनी एनर्जी वेस्ट करी. We just had a brilliant idea of doing this, and this person got you know uh, to express himself कि communism is better. टोनी रॉबिन्स ने एक बड़ी सुंदर बात बोली है कि योर आइडेंटिटी इज नथिंग बट द बिलीव्स यू हैव लर्न टू एक्सेप्ट अबाउट हु यू आर. सो द क्वेश्चन बिकम्स, हु टॉट यू हु यू आर? पेरेंट्स थे, टीचर्स थे, कल्चर था, फ्रेंड्स थे, सोसाइटी थी, कि ऑल हैव लेफ्ट देयर फिंगरप्रिंट्स ऑन योर आइडेंटिटी. सच्ची बात तो यही है ना कि हमारी लाइफ में हमने जो कुछ भी एक्सपीरियंस किया है, जो भी टीचर्स आए, जो भी पेरेंट्स हमारे हैं, हमारा जो भी कल्चर है, दैट हैज बिल्ट आवर आइडेंटिटी. बट द गुड न्यूज इज व्हाट वाज क्रिएटेड कैन बी रिक्रिएटेड चॉइसेस के थ्रू. तो जो हमने पढ़ा है उसके अंदर बेसिक आइडिया वाज आइडेंटिटी इज बिल्ट फ्रॉम एक्सपीरियंसेस. एवरी सिग्निफिकेंट मूवमेंट एड्स अ ब्रिक to your self-image. A compliment can make you feel capable. Criticism जो होती है can make you question yourself. Over time, these experiences solidify into this is who I am. I've shared the example how my dad used to keep on telling, nahi, nahi, you have done a phenomenal and I know you are capable of much more. And the more he said, the self-fulfilling prophecy worked. I used to feel, yes, I can do more. Let me do a little more effort. Give a little more to it so that I can experience it. With the result, it never felt कि yes, I cannot do it. जो मर्जी हो जाए life. I cannot handle it. Was never a statement, an idea in my life. Okay. Then we also understood through this that identity is shaped by emotional meanings. Emotional meanings matlab emotional meanings that we give to whatever is happening. It is not the event itself that defines you. It is the meaning. It is the emotion that you attach with it to it. Okay? That creates your identity. If you failed an exam and felt ashamed, you might have formed the identity that I'm not smart. If you failed but felt determined, you might have formed the identity कि I am resilient. एक ही इवेंट है, different identities क्यों है? क्योंकि the way you perceive things, the way you give meaning to the experiences that you go through. ठीक है? And हमने ये भी समझा कि जो आइडेंटिटी है वो इवॉल्व हो सकती है, कैन इवॉल्व, बिकॉज यू गेव मीनिंग टू एक्सपीरियंस, यू कैन चेंज द मीनिंग टू. अगर आपको लगता है आई हैव बीन अ फेलियर, तो आप उस चीज को चेंज भी कर सकते हो ना, कि आई हैव बीन एक्सपीरियंसिंग, आई हैव बीन एक्सप्लोरिंग मल्टीपल थिंग्स, क्या भी बोल के, राइट? द story you give to yourself about any of the experiences is the marker that defines your identity, and that's how you redesign your identity consciously. ठीक है? अगर मैं इसी आइडेंटिटी में बैठी रहती कि बिकॉज आई गॉट मैरिड अर्ली मैं कुछ नहीं कर पाई लाइफ में, डू यू थिंक आई वुड हैव बीन सिटिंग हियर एंड डूइंग दिस? लाइकवाइज अगर एक लड़की को बचपन में बार बार बोला जाता है कि तू बहुत बोलती है, तू बहुत बोलती है, what do you think this woman will grow up like? She will always hesitate to speak in groups. But अगर इसको reframe कर दिया जाए कि I am expressive and have a voice that matters, then वो एकदम confident हो जाएगी and she will actually share her ideas. अगर अगर एक बच्चा फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैथ्स के एग्जाम में फेल हो जाता है, उसके दिमाग में क्या सेट हो जाता है? आई एम बैड विथ नंबर्स। जैसे वो बड़ा होता है, ये जो ये वाला जो बिलीफ है, दैट इफेक्ट्स हिज फाइनेंशियल डिसीजंस। ठीक है। जब तक वो चूज नहीं करता कि उसको सीखना है बजटिंग, जब तक he does not say to himself or herself कि I am financially aware, या फिर I am exploring finances, I am exploring numbers, उसको अपने आप को ये चूज करना पड़ेगा कि he will have to tell himself this consistently, he will have to learn budgeting, and that one shift breaks the old identity pattern. I know for a fact I was very scared of numbers at all times. ऐसा नहीं है कि अभी बिल्कुल खत्म हो गया, बट नाउ आई वाज शेयरिंग इन द अदर सेशन एज वेल वन डे कि ड्यूरिंग कोविड आई डिसाइडेड कि चलो भाई, सारी उम्र मुझको ये लगता रहा मुझको मैथ्स नहीं आता। आई पिक्ड अप 6th standard की बुक एंड आई स्टार्टेड डूइंग इट विद इन आई थिंक 1 week or 15 days. I finished that book because I was committed and I was absolutely committed towards कि नहीं, मेरे को ये आइडेंटिटी शिफ्ट करनी है। आई एम नॉट बैड विद नंबर्स। वो सीख लिया। सेकेंड, उसके बाद 7th की उठाई, फिर 8th की उठाई, फिर 9th की उठाई। एंड आई ऑलवेज हैड दिस बिलीफ, क्योंकि मेरी 6th की बेस ठीक नहीं थी, तभी मैं आज तक अभी तक मैथ नंबर्स के साथ शक करती हूँ। एंड now I don't feel so। ठीक है। देन लेटर आई फॉर्म्ड अ बिलीफ कि ठीक है, नंबर्स के साथ आई एम नॉट दैट बैड, बट I'm very relaxed with, where I am spending my money, where should I be spending my money, where is my money going, where is it coming from, and everything। And विद द रिजल्ट, एक एमएमआई का जो इवेंट में गए थे, उसके अंदर हमारे को सिखाया कि दिस मच परसेंटेज शुड गो हेयर, दिस परसेंट शुड गो इन योर लग्जरी, दिस मतलब सॉरी, इन योर लर्निंग की बॉक्स में जाना चाहिए, इतना आपको अपनी इन्वेस्टमेंट्स में डालना चाहिए, इतना सेविंग्स करनी चाहिए, इतनी कॉन्ट्रीब्यूशन करनी चाहिए, दिस एंड दैट, है ना। एंड आई स्टार्टेड ऑल ऑफ अ सडन फीलिंग कि यार मुझको तो पता ही नहीं, मेरे पास मेरे बैंक अकाउंट में कितने पैसे आ रहे हैं और कितने अकाउंट से जा रहे हैं, मैं किसको दे रही हूँ, कौन मुझको दे रहा है। आई वॉज नेवर एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड दैट, सो आई स्टार्टेड मेंटेनिंग दिस थिंग इन द from January onwards, and now I know where are the finances going. So you can always shift that old identity। ठीक है। So I would love for you to reflect on who or what has most influenced how you see yourself today. Also, I would love for you to reflect on which old experiences have defined your I am statements कि मैं I am a procrastinator, I am lazy, I am blah 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 जो भी आप बोलते हो, I don't know what you say। ठीक है। So I would love for you to make a list of them। What meaning can I give to those experiences now? क्या आप सच्ची में लेजी हो? A very beautiful example that I have been giving is also this, that so many people come to me and they say, I am not confident, I would love to be more confident, and I ask them, why do you feel you are not confident? They would say कि मुझको नहीं पता कैमरा कैसे फेस करना है, मुझको नहीं पता कि how to go on a stage and talk and this and that, and I would say कि अच्छा, इसके लिए this is the story that you are telling yourself, because of which you are saying that I am not confident, right? And they would be like, yes। Then I will ask this lady, I asked her, ki, what is your favorite thing to do? She said, what is the thing that you do the best? She says, I make amazing tea. And I asked her, if two people come to your home, can you make 2 cups of tea? She said, yes। 10, 10 yes, 20 yes, 50 yes। And I was like, oh, so are you confident in doing that? So she said, yes। तो मैंने कहा, तो फिर आपकी कॉन्फिडेंस की तो प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है ना, यू आर अ कॉन्फिडेंट पर्सन। बट जहाँ पे, so you can shift the word by saying that I am not confident and at speaking on the stage as of now, या फिर yet करके बोल दोगे तो ये चीज change हो जाएगी ना. Then you will learn it and you will be able to do it. That's it. It's simple, right? So मैं आपको से चाहती हूँ, this is what I am looking forward for you to do through this session that we have done today. I would love for you to recall 3 major memories, good or bad, जो भी, that shaped how you see yourself today. For each one, identify what identity belief came from it. अगर वो disempowering है, I would love for you to rewrite the meaning. The experience did not make me weak. It made me aware. It made me wise. It made me resilient. जो भी उसके अंदर से कुछ भी अच्छा आपको मिलता है, आपको वो करना है. This will help you see that your identity is a story and you are the author. So you have to work on it, right? I would love for you to, really remember this. We are not our past. We are the meaning we give to it. And you can change it any day. Okay? That's it for today. We shall meet tomorrow and we will be understanding and reading The Ultimate Pain, Seeds of an Identity Crisis. This is what we are going to read about tomorrow. And till then, take good care of yourself. God bless you and lots and lots and lots of love. Bye-bye.